Hey there, Altenew friends, it's Jaycee. When I first started making cards, one of the things I struggled with was sentiment placement. Over the years, I've started following 3 simple composition rules in deciding the perfect spot for my stamped sentiments. June 12, 2022 marks a really special occasion for Altenew. They've released all 5 of the subscription services all on the same day. So that's the Craft a Flower, Paint a Flower, Build a Garden, Mini Delight, and the Craft Your Life Projects kit are all on the same day today. So I have the June 2022 set. That's the Paint a Flower Flowering Dogwood. And if you're unfamiliar with these 4x6 outline stamp sets, these stamp sets are made for single layer cards if you choose. And the flower illustrations are perfect for making your own interesting and colorful compositions. And personally, over the few years I've been card making, I've developed my own set of rules on combining sentiments with Altenew's beautiful floral stamps. I'm going to be keeping my card composition fairly simple. I won't be adding in too many colors, as I want my focus on this video tutorial to be mostly on sentiment placement, so that you all don't have to spend too much time guessing where to put the sentiment for your card. I'm going to start by composing my flower arrangement, and for this monochrome grayscale card I'm going to use the Altenew Crisp Ink in Silverstone to stamp my flowering dogwood. So I've picked this linear arrangement on my card front, featuring 4 flowers and their bracts, as well as the supporting foliage, all stamped in Silverstone. This may be a linear card composition that you see often, as I like how it leads your recipient down the face of the card. And just as I mentioned before, I'm keeping this card composition really simple. I'm using the E set of Altenew Artist Markers, and I'm just using limestone to very loosely color in and color block the leaves on my flowering dogwood stamp set. I'm simply just adding a block of color to distinguish and separate the leaves from the bracts of this flower. So that is the floral composition for my very simple card front. And this will act as my focal element. Now all I have to do is add the sentiment. The sentiments in Paint a Flower Flowering Dogwood are beautiful, but since I'm keeping this really simple, I want to add something a little bit more dynamic. I like the buildable sentiments in this stamp set. This is the Endless Florescense stamp set. It has its coordinating die that cuts out this large cluster of flowers. And if you have this stamp set, everything that we've done up to this point is totally applicable. It's another linear floral composition, and the rules for adding your sentiment to this linear stamp set, linear arrangement of floral stamps, still applies. So I'm going to use one of the buildable portions of this sentiment to really make a statement on my card front, since I've chosen to keep it really simple. Now I've placed this Scripty U sentiment in my stamp positioning tool, and its location is really deliberate. Like I mentioned before, I like linear arrangements because our eyes are naturally drawn to create lines. Think of them as constellations. So the flower lines naturally point this way and back down in your card. So I want my sentiment to capture my recipient's attention as they continue down the face of my floral composition. So to me, it makes the most sense that my sentiment stamp set follows this line that I've created. And over on my Instagram, you all have expressed the challenge of leaving a lot of white space. White space doesn't have to necessarily be a bad thing on your card as long as you use it effectively. So now we've focused a lot of our attention to the linear arrangement of flowers and the sentiment. And now these large open areas will help balance this large focal point we've created on our card. I don't have the large crisp dye ink of Industrial Diamond, but I'm going to move down the line of the Rock Collection family of inks. So I've used limestone on the leaves, silverstone on the outline portion of flowering dogwood, and then I'll use Industrial Diamond to stamp the U sentiment. And after stamping that in Industrial Diamond, now I can work on building my sentiment. But I like this "You Are Enough" sentiment, so I'm going to continue that again with Industrial Diamond. And then to help break up the deliberate nature of this arrangement, that's what I use splatters for. And with an Altenew water brush, I'll add a line of splatter as deliberately as I can to help break up the lines in this card. So I'll add a little bit up here, a little bit down here, just to help fill in that white space and to help blur the line between this very deliberate linear composition. So I've mounted my card panel to my folded note card base, and we could leave this card here, but I am going to take this one step further. If this card composition is just a little bit too simple for you, we could add in other elements as well. I used one of the butterflies in the Meadow Reflections stamp and die set to quickly stamp a butterfly that I can use to frame the sentiment just a little bit more. So I am orienting this embellishment in a way so that it looks like it's looking at the sentiment. And I'm just going to use a little bit of my Instant Dimension foam tape to raise the butterfly up, and I will use this supporting butterfly to finish off this linear composition of flowers and my supporting sentiment. And just as a recap, I have oriented my flowers in a way so that my recipient's eyes gaze down the face of the card, but I also have added this interesting focal point along this line so that the recipient doesn't miss the occasion of this card. I'll show one more example of how to use composition to create dynamic and interesting places to add your sentiments to your card fronts. Now, I don't have the June 2022 Build a Garden Nature's Magic set, so I've used something similar that would also pair really well with the June 2022 subscription, and that is this older 6x8 stamp set Poppy Garden with its coordinating die. And I've already gold embossed a few of the taller images in a Poppy Garden to mimic the floral cluster in Build a Garden Nature's Magic. And onto this peachy colored cardstock with the gold embossing, I'll use more of my Altenew artist markers to color in the flowers. I'm using the C set. And just like the previous card, I am color blocking Peach Perfect to fill in the space in the petals. And after using Peach Perfect, I used Mango Smoothie to fill in a few of the smaller motifs. I used the coordinating dies for Poppy Garden to cut up my loosely colored images. So this is just one element of my card, so I'll set this aside. The next crafty item I'll bring out to support my poppy arrangement is this Lacy Doily Die. And with the Lacy Doily Die, I've cut a white piece of cardstock to add a circular element to my card. So using the A2 orientation portrait grid on my Altenew cutting mat, I'll start creating my arrangement on top of the doily. The Lacy Doily is obviously my circular element, and then my poppy arrangement of flowers is going to act as my rough triangle. I love incorporating shapes onto my card front. I think it helps group focal elements together, and we can use that to our advantage by clustering and adding in our sentiment. So I will keep this arrangement in mind as I move on to making the sentiment portion of this really simple card. The sentiment that I've picked for my card is this Hello You, and what I did was I white heat embossed the hello onto some gold cardstock, and then I die cut that same gold cardstock using the Craft Your Life Project Kit Dynamic Blooms. And so this one has the hello sentiment stamp, and then the U die as part of the set. I'm going to bring back that arrangement that I had from earlier. And now I have my rough triangle of floral elements, my circular element to encompass my two shapes. Anywhere within the confines of this circle is a good place to add this U sentiment. Now for me, I'm going to add it down here at the bottom of my poppy flowers because I feel like the line of this stem is going to point to my U. And then off to the side here, I can break up the circle by adding my hello sentiment banner. So I've used a strong liquid adhesive to start gluing down the elements to my card front. So that's my doily, flower, part of my focal sentiment. And then I've used Instant Dimension foam tape to add a little piece behind the hello banner. And just as before with the pure graphite ink splatters, I can do the same with my 14 metallic watercolor pan set. I think gold pearl is going to coordinate nicely with my embossing powder as well as my metallic cardstock. And just as before, I'm going to deliberately place this splatter in specific areas of my card, which is why I like using the Altenew water brushes to add splatter to my cards. I'm going to frame the sentiment and the flower arrangement with splatters in this corner, and then also in the top left. And I feel that this helps break up the deliberate lines that I create on my card front. So you can see from this zoomed out view that my circle, my linear and somewhat triangular arrangement of flowers, all points and frames my deliberate choice of sentiment placement. So whether you choose a more linear arrangement or choose to incorporate simple shapes into your card front, you can be sure that your beautiful Altenew floral arrangements will complement and set the stage for the meaningful sentiment that you choose for your card front. My series encourages you to shop your existing Altenew stash and rekindle their love with newer releases. Perfect Pairings with Jaycee airs on the Altenew channel every second and fourth Sunday of the month. Please make sure you like and subscribe if you haven't already. Thank you so much for tuning in to this perfect pairing episode with me, and I'll see you in the next one.
Hello there! Are you still looking for project ideas and card making inspirations? Well, if you are, look no further. We have tons here at the Altenew YouTube channel. You can also subscribe and hit the notification bell so you don't miss out on any videos that we do upload. To help keep your creative juices flowing, we have a couple more videos that you can watch here too. Thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you again really, really soon. Bye bye!